Hi everyone, welcome to Rain Francis Art for Kids. This is part of our Countdown to Christmas series, festive art every Sunday to celebrate the seasons. Grab your coloring pencils and let's get creative together. Today's drawing is extra cozy and fun. We'll be drawing a bear with a colorful scarf sitting in the snowy woods. So let's jump in. This is what you'll need for today's drawing. You're going to need a piece of paper. I have a dollar store drawing pad here. It's 8.5 by 11 inches wide. I have a pencil and an eraser, and I always have my old paintbrush handy to dust off my page. Now today we're using coloring pencils. We've got 3 shades of green. I have a darker green, a light green, and a pale green. I have what's called Salmon Pink. You don't have to use the same colors as I have. If you have a regular pink or a light orange or a light yellow, that would be nice. This is Salmon Pink. It's kind of a mix between, I don't know, a bit of an orange and a pink. I have red, and I have 2 colors of brown. I have a dark brown and a medium brown. I love this one. It's called chocolate brown. I also have my black Sharpie, and I have my fine tip black marker for outlining. So why don't I clear my page and we can start drawing our bear in a scarf with snowy trees. So let's start with the bear. We are going to draw his head. Big round circle for his head. And then a smaller round circle for his body. Kind of looks like a snowman. Okay, we're going to make this really, really easy for you today. Now for his ears, another circle, and a circle inside for the inside of his ears. And on this side too, a circle and one on the inside. Okay? Now let's draw his eyes, some big oval eyes. With the oval pupil, just like that. And then for his snout, we're going to draw a big circle here. And inside this circle, we've got a little oval for his nose, a line, and a smile. Okay? Now let's draw his arms. He's got one arm that's going to come up here and he's going to be waving at us. And the other arm is just going to be down like this. And this arm that's waving, we're going to see the bottom of his foot. So we're going to see 3 little toe pads and one right here. Okay? And this one's not going to show because his hand is this way. So we're going to give him a belly. Just like that. And for his feet, I'm going to make it very easy for you. And we're going to have to do some erasing. But we're going to draw 2 circles for his feet. One here. And one here. Oh, that one's a little lopsided. I'm going to erase that. I'm going to redraw that one. Because I want them to touch. I want this one and this one to touch. So why don't I redo that one? I'll start over here. That's a little better. Now everything inside the circle, I want you to erase. Okay? Everything inside the circles. Just erase all that. I'm going to be erasing everything anyway after I outline. But just to make it easier for you to see, let's erase everything in those circles. And we're going to give him the same thing as up here. 3 little toe pads and a big one. 3 little toe pads and a big one. Okay, so that's our cute little bear. Although I'm going to change something up a little. I think his arms are a little too long. That one might be okay. We'll see. But I think his arms are too long. I want him to have short little arms. Yeah, I think we're going to make that one a little shorter too. That's what erasers are for. You get to edit your work or your drawing. It's not work. There, we'll give him these little toes. I think that's a little better. Now for his scarf, again, we're going to have to do some erasing because the scarf is going to go on top of him, okay? So let's start it about here. We're drawing like a little kind of jelly bean shape. And everything inside that shape, let's erase that. Not his head though, just anything, his arm and his body that's inside that shape we're going to erase. We want it to look like he's wearing the scarf. And of course the scarf is going to have some parts that come down and we're going to erase inside there. And some parts that come down here and we're going to erase inside there. So everything inside of the scarf, let's just erase. And if you accidentally erase part of the scarf, like I just did, all you have to do is draw it in again. Okay? Oops. There we go. And there we go. And I'm going to put a stripe on each side of the scarf. Okay, I hope that's not too complicated for you. Once it's all outlined, you're going to see how nice that's going to look. So because we have our bear with snowy trees, we have to draw a snowy tree. We're going to just draw a little one, and this is going to be a fun little tree. I start with a round top, and I go squiggly, 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 squiggly. Squiggly, 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 squiggly. A little stump. Okay? And let's just draw a little bit of ground here, because he is sitting in the snow. So there's his snowy tree, and we have to put some snow on it, so I'm doing a few little wiggly lines up here. That's going to be snow, and we want some snow on the branches too. So on each branch, we're going to do this. And again, when we add color, you're going to see how that looks. It's going to look really nice. Okay, so that's the outline of our bear with a scarf and a snowy tree. And now what I'm going to do is take my fine liner marker and I'm going to outline everything that I've drawn in pencil. And because I'm going to be erasing my pencil marks, I'm not too concerned about following my pencil lines. But if you're not going to erase your pencil marks, make sure you try to follow your lines so that they don't show too much. Okay? So I'm going to just add the little snowy areas. See, I'm not really following my pencil marks too much, but that's okay. I think I know what I'm doing here. I practiced this a few times because I wanted to make sure it was very clear for everybody who's watching. Now let me do the bear. Let's start with his eyes. My stomach is growling or making gurgly noises because I'm hungry. Every time I do videos, I get really hungry. And because I have my microphone close to my stomach, actually, it's hooked onto my shirt, so you can hear everything going on in my stomach. you're going to hear when I get hungry. Right, so this is part of his body here, and his little arm, this cute little arm here. And his little feet. And his belly. There we go. I think I got everything outlined. Now what I'm going to do is erase my pencil marks. Oh, I forgot this area here. The rest of the snowy area. Okay, so make sure if you're erasing that your marker is dry, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and erase all of my pencil marks. I already know that my marker is dry because it dries really quickly. Some markers take a little longer though, so it's good to test them out just to make sure they're dry, because the last thing we want is to smudge our drawing, right? We took our time and drew a nice little bear, and we don't want to have to redo it. So we don't want to smudge the marker. So I hope now that you can see the outline, that you understand everything in the drawing. This one's a little more complicated than some of the other ones I've done. But I want you to challenge yourself and learn how to do different types of drawings. Because the best thing in the world is to keep learning. Never stop learning. I always say I'm a forever student because I love to learn. Okay, let's start putting some color in. How about we start with the tree? Now I've got that light green and that pale green. The pale green is going to be for the snow. So I'm just going to do a light layer of that pale green. I'm not going to press down hard, and I'm turning my pencil once in a while. And usually I color it in more than once, but this time I'm not going to because I want it to sort of be very pale. You know, snow is supposed to be white, but I wanted to make this a little more cartoonish, I guess. So we're going to have some light green snow here, just to give it some personality. But you can leave it the color of the page if you want, or you can use a very pale blue or a pale pink. But I think green will be nice because the tree is green. And the bear is going to have some green in his scarf too, so I wanted to stick with the green shades. Okay, so that's the snow. And now I'm going to take that light green and color in the entire tree. And I'm going to try not to get any of that into the snow area. Now it might look like the same color now, but we're going to add another layer, and it's going to be a little darker. So you don't have to press down very hard, and turn your pencil once in a while so you don't wear it down on one side or break the tip. I always break the tip, even when I'm not pressing down hard. It's funny. So there's a slight difference between these two colors for now. But you'll see when we add the second layer, it'll look different. I know I already said that, but I just want to reassure you. Don't forget to turn your pencil. It's getting cold out there. Winter is definitely on the way here in Canada as I record this. I am never ready for winter. I like the snow. I like playing outside in the snow with my dogs. They love it. Play catch with them out there. They love it. But I get cold. I really get cold these days. Okay, so we're going to color that in a second time. That's called applying a second layer of color. So I'm going to color in a second layer of that green color. Not in the snowy areas, but on the tree. And that's how we get the colors that we want. We layer them. See the difference between one layer and two? Now you can really see the difference between the color of the snow and the color of the tree. I love layering. You know, you don't have to push down, and you're not going to break your pencil, and you're not going to tire out your arm when you layer. I think that looks really cool. Now you can kind of see it looks like snow on a tree. There has to be a little contrast of colors. How are you guys doing? Are you doing okay? If ever you have to stop to sharpen your pencils or go get a drink of water or anything like that, just pause the video and come back when you're ready, and I'll be right here waiting for you. Turning my pencil, not forgetting to do that. There we go. Now I'm going to just do a quick third layer. Just any area that I feel needs it. You can do as many layers as you like. I just want that to be a nice, brilliant green. There we go. Now I'm going to work on the bear. I'm going to start with, let's see, I'm going to take that Salmon Pink, and that's going to be the inside of his ears and his belly and his little toes and his paws, okay? So let me start. And again, I'm going to do several layers, but I'm going to start with one, and then I'll come back, because I want to show you the areas that we're going to use this color. And his little snout, I think, is going to be this color too. Yeah, I'm going to do his snout this color as well. Not the nose, just the snout. Don't forget to turn your pencil. And don't press down too hard. Let's do his belly. pink belly. All right, now those little toe pads on his hand and on his little feet. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and apply a second layer of this salmon pink to all the areas, okay, that I put the first layer on. I really like this color. I think it looks really, really great. Look at that difference between one layer and two. Such a big difference. This color reminds me of an actor. Kids might not know this actor, but you know, maybe the adults will. John Wayne, the great Western actor, did a lot of Western films. He was a cowboy. He was tough. Big, tall guy. His signature color of the shirts that he wore was salmon pink. Or just pink. I just remember that in a lot of his movies, he had a salmon-colored shirt on all the time. And it looked great on him. And whenever I see this color, it reminds me of that. So I don't know if the kids out there know who John Wayne is, but the adults might. Now don't forget to turn your pencil once in a while. Oh, I love this color so much. All right, this is coming along. It's looking nice. So now I'm going to color in. I'm going to grab that dark brown, that chocolate brown, and I'm just going to fill in the trunk of the tree here. And I am going to do a second layer because I want it to be nice and dark. There we go. And his nose is going to be this color too, this nice chocolate brown color. I love saying chocolate brown. And a second layer. I actually made myself some hot chocolate last night. It was really nice. Because it's so cold outside, I wanted to warm up a little with something sweet. There we go. Now, the bear is going to be this kind of medium brown color. Now just be careful. We're going to do the whole bear, not the eyes, and not the scarf. Okay? So let's be careful not to get any brown into the scarf. And I'm going to try not to get any brown outside of the lines because I don't want to mess up that beautiful salmon pink. I think it just looks so pretty. Our beautiful little bear. He's probably a little cub, little baby bear. It's funny, every time I see a bear, I think of my puppy. I have a puppy, one of the 5 dogs that I have, and his name is Benny Bear. And I think he's dreaming right now. Don't forget to turn your pencil. Oops. There we go. All of my dogs are from shelters, and they called me and they told me, because I always adopt from shelters, and I usually adopt older dogs who need homes. And one of my dogs had passed away, so I had one dog left. Her name is Raven. She's a Rottweiler, and she was getting a little lonely. So the shelter called me and they said, you know what? We have a puppy here. We think that Raven might like that, might like being with a puppy. So I went to the shelter and I checked him out. It was Benny, but they called him Teddy, Teddy Bear. And I didn't want to call him Teddy Bear, so I changed his name to Benny Bear. But there was a whole family there. Benny's mother was there too. Her name was Lucy. And Lucy's mother was there too. Her name was Miley. And I didn't want to break up their family, so I took them all. Benny, Lucy, and Miley came home with me and Raven that day. So I had 4. And then a few months later, I adopted another one. Her name is Allie Faye. She was at the shelter at the same time, but she wasn't up for adoption because she had to have an operation on her tail. And I felt bad because she was the only one left, and she kept looking at me, and she looked so much like my old hound dog. And I thought, oh gosh, can I take her? And they're like, no, she needs an operation, but they're like, oh, we'll find her a good home. And I'm like, okay. And then a few months later, I called, and she was still there, and I said, oh, can I take her? So I went and I adopted a 5th. That's how I am. All right, I am going to apply a second layer of this beautiful brown color to the entire bear. You see what I did? I did everywhere except for the scarf. As I was yattering on about my dog's story. I love talking about my dogs. So yeah, I knew somebody named Teddy. And it would have felt funny for me to call my dog Teddy. So I changed the name to Benny Bear. So don't forget to turn your pencil. Oh, that's looking nice. Okay. When I first thought about this drawing, I thought, well, if it's winter, maybe I'll do a polar bear. But then polar bears don't really live in the woods, do they? They live up in the Arctic. So I figured, no, you know what? I'll do a little brown bear. I think that'll look nice. Now I got a little bit of brown into the eye. I'm going to make a little attempt at erasing, although it's not easy to erase coloring pencils. I can get a little bit out. There we go. You can't get it all out though, because these coloring pencils, the ones that I have, they're wax based. I've talked about this before. They're made with wax, and once the wax gets on your paper, it's really hard to erase. It's like crayons. Crayons are made of wax as well. All right. I might have to stop and sharpen my pencil because it's getting a little dull. And I find that when I'm doing smaller areas, it's better to have a sharp edge because it's easier to get into the little spots. So I'm going to sharpen. So that's nice and sharp. Look at that. So what I'll do is I'll start with those smaller spots while it's really nice and sharp. Hopefully I won't break the tip. Trying to press as lightly as possible. But that's a little tip. If you're doing smaller, tiny areas, you want to get into the little nooks and crannies. Make sure that your crayon is really sharpened to a fine tip. These are these tiny little areas I want to get into here. And maybe around the toes here also. Turning my pencil. All right. And I'll get into, while it's really nice and sharp, I'll do these little small areas as well. There's a little tiny area in there I should get. Well, it's nice and sharp. There we go. Now I can go and fill in the rest. And I don't have to worry about it being so sharp. But I will turn my pencil to make sure I hopefully don't break the tip. Okay. Our little bear is looking very cute. He looks so nice and warm. Those bears have very thick fur, so they don't get cold, but a little scarf will help. I saw a bear about 4 years ago. I was driving home at night. It was in the summertime, actually. It was a black bear. Not too far from where I live, because I live in the mountains, in the woods. And there's a lot of wildlife here. But I was driving home at night, and there was a big bear in the middle of the road. And I stopped my car, and I thought, oh, should I get out of here? But I realized it was a mama bear, and she was in the middle of the road waiting for her babies to cross so that they would be safe. And they took off into the woods. They generally don't want to be around people, you know. But it was really cool seeing them. But of course, I was in the safety of my car. If I was out, don't think I would have felt so comfortable. There we go. So we've got all the bear done. Now let's do the scarf. I think I'm going to take that red, and I'm just going to do the stripe. I want the scarf to be green for the most part. So I'm just going to do the stripes in red. Because we've got so much green here, I want to keep that green going. And let's do a second layer of the red to make it really pop. Turning my pencil. Look at that. That looks so nice. Now I'll do this one here. Okay, now that darker green, it's not really dark, but it's darker than these. That's going to be the rest of the scarf color. And we are going to do a second layer, of course, to make that green really pop out. And I'll leave it up to you how many layers you want to do. This green doesn't go on the page as well as the others, so I might have to do 3 layers on this one if I'm not pressing down hard. I'll see. All right. This is coming together very nicely. I'm really enjoying this. It's so relaxing to color. Especially that my dogs are sleeping. Sometimes they're running around chasing each other, but it's morning time here, so really early in the morning actually. Everyone's still asleep. But I was awake, so I thought, oh, what the heck. I'll do a little drawing before breakfast. That's why my stomach is gurgling. Now I'm going to do a third layer, just a quick third layer, just to see if I can cover up the page color showing through there a little bit more. Doesn't he look handsome? He's so cute. Oh, I love this color. It's beautiful. Isn't it a nice green color? There we go. So that's all done. That's looking really nice. So what I'd like to do now is just take that pale green color, the one that we used for the snow, and I'm just going to do a little bit under here. Not much. I'm not going all the way down the page. Just a little bit to indicate some snow on the ground. And I'm only going to do 1 layer. I'm not going to go ahead and do a bunch of layers because it's snow and it should be light. There, just a little bit of snow. Okay, and now I'm going to take my black Sharpie and I'm going to color in those pupils black. There's one. And there's 2. He looks so cute. Now I'm going to take my fine liner and I'm just going to outline that area here again because it got a little washed out with that salmon pink. Let's give him some eyebrows. And let's make him look cute. Let's make him look like he's got cheeks. And how we do that is at the edge of each side of his smile, we put little semicircles. See? Now it looks like he's got cheeks. Now, my friends, don't forget to sign your work. I want you to feel proud of the beautiful artwork that you created today. I hope you had fun drawing with me and enjoyed this cozy art time. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Rain Francis Art for Kids. Bye for now.